Welcome back to Server Restart In. I don't remember anything else after that. 3 opinionated players.
You gotta move that mic closer.
3 opinionated players. Jim, Brian, Kristen, blah 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 blah.
That's pretty
stuff.
good. That was like right, spot on.
Yeah. I feel like that was what Jim does.
3, 2, 1.
Prepare for battle, we're diving into a world unknown where legends begin. Jim, Kristen, and Brian guiding the way. In Azeroth we'll conquer, there's no time to delay. Server restarted, we're ready to play. Join us now as we fight day after day. From dungeons to raids, we'll conquer it all. In the world of Warcraft, we'll never fall. Server restarted,
Mm-hmm.
No. Jim's like, nobody ever listens to me. God damn it. Oh. Ah. You guys both look very excited to be here.
I am.
I'm looking at both of you, and you both look very excited to be here.
All right. I already know what kind of
I'm pretty
day,
stoked.
I already know what kind of day it's gonna be today.
Oh, no. One of those days?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of those days.
All right. Well, let's get to it.
Yeah, let's kick this pig.
Kick it in the...
Question mark.
Kick the pig.
Let's kick this pig.
Wow.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Server Restart In. It is a weekly World of Warcraft podcast hosted by 3 opinionated players who like to get together to discuss their thoughts about the current state of the game. My name is Jim. I'm joined by Kristen.
Hello.
And Brian.
Mellow.
And I know I say weekly, but it's been a few weeks.
I mean, life happens, right?
Life has happened a lot lately.
Life happens. It's a thing. It's fine.
You know, we have the best intentions, and sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Okay.
So we're still alive.
Doesn't happen.
We're still here. None of us are, in the path of any of those hurricanes. So we didn't get,
that's right. Yeah.
Didn't get destroyed by Mother Nature. So
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing.
not yet.
And hopefully, are they still going on?
No. They've already gone through, but there's more coming because it's hurricane season. So, yay. So yeah, God, what have we done since we've last talked? I don't even remember what we last talked about.
I don't either.
Probably the War Within, maybe.
I'm gonna guess.
I mean, we're not on the next expansion already?
Oh God, I haven't even done anything with this expansion. I had the best intentions at the start of this expansion.
You didn't?
Yes, I did. I was having a lot of fun. I even leveled a second character almost to 100. What's the level again? What's the next level?
100. Wow.
No, I'm getting.
You are definitely going above and beyond.
I'm getting confused with Final Fantasy because that's the max level in Final Fantasy right now.
Is it 80?
I don't remember. 80. Whatever. Almost to max level.
When Jim doesn't know it, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's a really bad thing.
I'm pretty sure it's level 80.
So I almost leveled a second character, which is unheard of for me. I was actually enjoying it. And then school stuff. So, that just took over.
Oh, that's fair. I thought you were going to come back with
no.
I hate WoW.
No.
I'm playing Final Fantasy. I'm too busy.
September was a really busy month.
I will say, wow, I am.
She'll just say, wow.
No, this is probably, maybe it's because I'm not playing it very much. but this is the expansion where I'm enjoying it the most. And maybe that is because I'm not playing it very much, but
recent expansion.
Yeah, like there's a lot of I think they've done a lot of really cool things with the expansion. And I like the zones. I like the follower dungeons to do quests and things like that. I think they did a really good job with the follower dungeons. I wish that you could do them on mythics so you could practice certain mechanics and positioning and stuff like that. But, you know, I mean, you can't. So, you know, whatever. But I wish that they allowed for more, like a more diverse use of the follower dungeons. But they have been very helpful. I got a mount that I have to do a bunch of quests for, and I have to go farm trinkets. So I've been doing it with the follower dungeons.
Yeah, she has to freaking. We did
Stone one Vault? Mythic Plus. Yeah, and I got the mount.
She got the mount, which starts the quest.
I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, what is this? And everybody was like, oh my God, you got the mount. And I'm like, okay. Oh, and then I looked at it and I'm like, oh, okay, it's like a mech suit. I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. So, I mean, I already have a bunch of mech suits, right?
Let me ask you, does the follower dungeon, have you gotten to the point where it's like slow paced that it annoys you?
No.
Into doing,
because
they are bad.
They're
slow.
Because I always set it to me being the person who does the pulling and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I pull at my leisure. I just run ahead and pull things, and I heal most of the time. So I tried out Wild Stalker healing in those because I've been doing Keeper of the Grove because I like having that extra healing power, but I also like going faster in those dungeons too, and they don't take a whole lot of damage if you're doing them well, or I guess as they're intended. And so I didn't have to heal a whole heck of a lot. I could just go in and damage in kitty form, and that was fun. I do not like that quest in the fact that you have to farm specific trinkets. And luckily, I am a druid, so I can farm on any spec, right? I can farm for a melee, I can farm for a caster, I can farm for a healer, any kind of trinket or a tank or anyone. They require 3 of them, but one of them, Jim had gone. I don't know where you were. You were out somewhere, and he came home, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Farming this stupid trinket, right?" Well, I didn't realize that I was on the wrong spec to farm the trinket. So I'd been doing all afternoon and the trinket wasn't dropping. And I'm like, what the frick? Wowhead said that this was the spec to use, and it was not. So that was kind of frustrating. I switched the spec.
Fucking Wowhead, man.
Yeah, fucking Wowhead. I switched the spec and I got it immediately. And I was like, God damn it. I've been doing this all afternoon.
F Wowhead.
F Wowhead. Yeah. F Wowhead. I feel like things. I mean, I remember back in the day, what did we use? Alakazam. What did we use before Alakazam? Thoughtbot. Yeah.
Thoughtbot, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, which Wowhead bought, and they have all the posts.
And I like that, I like that, but I also wish that things were still kind of, that they didn't data mine everything. I know we've talked about this before, but it just, some things could be a surprise, and that would be kind of nice.
Yeah.
That's
why I don't really go on Wowhead much anymore.
Yeah.
I try to ignore data mine stuff.
I don't do it. The only time I really go on it now is if I'm stuck on a quest and I can't figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do, because we all know I don't read quests. I just, cowabunga and go in and start killing things. And then Jim's like, you don't need to kill anything for this quest. I'm like, need. You know, maybe not for the quest, but that black blood is thrumming through my veins.
Jesus,
you know?
Jesus Christ.
Miss Feet Fetish there has got me in her grasp.
Oh. Yeah, that is kind of interesting how a lot of the cinematics and stuff, it just
Focus
have
on
all
her
the
feet.
shots of Zalata's feet.
She's got
So
some good
Why
feet.
haven't they made them dirty yet? Is my question.
I don't-
She
Like she's got to have
floats.
some dirty fucking
She
feet.
floats.
She floats, dude.
She's a priest. She
She's
levitates.
floating
Not the whole time though.
Every scene she's in, she's
Mo-
floating around.
a lot of the
and
time.
stuff.
I mean,
Is
if
she?
I could levitate, I would be floating around all the time too. Like, come on
Well,
now,
you'd
let's
have
be
to keep your
real.
feet clean.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have to worry about like stepping on glass or nails or debris.
Do you have to worry about that now? Wear fucking shoes.
Well, not if you're barefoot.
She just wants to show off her
Bees?
toe rings. You don't.
I have stepped on bees
Did you say
before.
toe rings?
Yeah.
South has a bunch of toe rings, I think.
I wish that they
Oh,
would.
oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, like not. There's. My brain went to piercings. I'm like, how the fuck?
Oh.
Those would be like subdermal implants on the toes to get like the little
Oh.
knobbies on the knuckles and stuff.
Oh, no, thank you. That sounds
I got-
painful.
Pierce the toenails.
That sounds really painful.
Yeah.
It grows
Yeah.
out.
It just sounds very painful.
No, there's not many feet piercings, I would think.
No.
I mean, I hope not. Yeah, that's why I kind of was shocked.
Yeah. I don't know that I would like that. I mean, because you'd have to worry about it because most of the time you're covering them up with shoes and you'd have to worry about your shoes ripping out the piercing.
Ugh.
You know? Like, yeah, exactly.
Moving right
Right.
along.
Yep. So yeah. So we're several weeks into the season 1 stuff. We haven't really
We
done
are?
much. Yes.
Oh.
My God. We haven't done much keys wise. I think the highest we've done is like
Oh yeah,
4.
we've been
But we just haven't had time to sit down and do them.
nope.
So
Yeah.
we haven't really done much there.
I did a 2 there, and it was, I don't know, harder than I expected. I guess
So
that's kind of interesting.
yeah, if you do it with a pre-made group, you're obviously going to have an easier time than a pug.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of
Communication-wise.
stuff kind of out there, like complaining about like
we
the
didn't
difficulty.
die at all. We overshot it by like, I don't know, like 4 minutes or whatever. But
Yeah.
it was just harder than I thought it was going to be. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean they are a little bit difficult, and the affixes are different.
Well, like I guess what I'm saying in that case, like the resulting item level in
For
the
the
vault
work
was
that you
like,
did. Yeah.
yeah, like 597 or something.
yeah, that's like normal raid entry for the normal raid.
Yeah. And then I'm like, you go do your tier 8, which I could solo in a delve and have an option for
616.
616.
16.
Well, again,
It's like, I don't,
I guess the concept is that one, the Mythic Plus track gives you loot from those dungeons, right? And I
Mhm.
think the other one gives you a different set of loot, so you're not gonna do delves and get like your
Mythic.
your Bis trinket out of a dungeon. Like if your Bis trinket comes from one of the dungeons, you're not gonna get it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean,
So, yeah, you're gonna get higher gear, but is it gonna?
Oh, it
be
doesn't pull. Delves don't pull from dungeons. What do they pull from?
either raid or just their own subset
Their
of
own.
loot. I don't know.
Hmm.
They do not pull from
well,
the
you,
dungeon.
you know what's interesting though? I wonder if it will influence like how they balance the way that you progress at max level going in the future. Like maybe not in this expansion, but it, like, to me it feels like Mythic Plus probably needs to be rethought in that case. I think it's cool that Mythic Plus still offers, like, if you want to just extend into 5-player content, you can go pretty deep with it and it's hard modes, but like the pace of rewarding and stuff like that,
Yeah,
even if the loot tables are different, like, you know, Because they did change Mythic Zeros from weekly to dailies. That's a huge shift, right? Like,
yeah.
I think it's just hard right now because we're at the beginning.
Well, I think what it is that delves can't go any higher than 616, right? That's like a hero 1 or something like that. So you can't get like mythic track loot out of a delve. I think you can out of Mythic Plus, but it might be that either solo 8 delves are too easy for the gear that you're getting, because
I think that's what's going to wind up happening, though, is that they're going to realize that the 616 is way, even in the shorter long term of progression for your character, it is much easier to stack yourself up with loot coming out of a delve to prepare you for raiding or even mythic plussing than it does doing those things themselves. And so
yeah, but
I have a feeling they're going to cut down like especially the vault result a lot. I would imagine like in the future the equivalent of a 606 versus a 616 is what you would get from a delve vault. Like,
I mean, or you make it slightly more difficult. And that's the hard thing, right? To tune it, because like I don't think I'd want it more difficult though, because even at this point, like, it's pretty
I
rough.
can solo it with my hunter, but it's definitely like you have to think through it, which is really, it's in a fun state in my opinion.
No, I agree.
It's where you have to think through it enough, and you can fight to complete it relatively quick. But like if it got any harder, I'd just be pissed off and quit.
Yeah,
I don't like that feeling. Like,
I don't like the number of deaths limiter for it. I think that you should be able to, if it takes you, some people don't learn immediately. You know, some people it takes a couple of deaths before they realize, oh, I shouldn't
some of that
stand
you
in this.
can't learn.
Yeah.
There's some of that you can't learn. Like I don't know. The end of the first one of the first delve that you kind of go to when you do that one on tier 8. You have to figure out which debuff that you can
to interrupt. Which one to interrupt?
Yeah. You have to figure out which one is the actual like deadly one.
Yeah.
And that does take a few iterations. But you actually learn that early on anyways as you're progressing. And so, or you should, like, so I think it's okay in that case. But what I found was that like at tier 8 on my warrior, when I did it, it was like, it's kind of like raiding and dungeoning at that point, because if I were to barely miss that one interrupt, even that one loop for that interrupt, that was it. I would wind up dying because I couldn't, between my heal and the potions that I was getting from Braun, that was it. Like, I would just die. There's nothing I could do about it.
Yeah.
Every fucking time. And so I got to the point where like I have to do this. I have to be near. I have to pivot around this stupid cart, and I also have to interrupt this one specific one and take the other one, or mitigate it with like spell shield or whatever, stuff like that. It was so like, it had to be so perfect, and like I don't mind that. Like when you finally discover what the final recipe is, but it's like you can't do it any other way at that point. Absolutely no way at all. It has to work out that precise. Yeah.
It gets kind of like the Mage Tower stuff, where it's like, depending on what role you are, you have to do things a certain way.
Yeah.
It's like I pushed up and I completed a 10 because I had it was the deep something or other. It was a really easy one because you could skip a bunch of things because you could stun them and like they just ignored you, and like that was fine. And I could get through and get to the boss and like skip a bunch of stuff and whatnot. There were some times like I died a few times and I did it on a blood decay, you know, and the last boss took forever, but it's an easy fight to know what to interrupt and just to get out of the way of a few things or whatever. So then I went and I'm like, cool, I completed a 10. I had enough revives left so that it unlocked the double question mark for Zekfir.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and gave that a shot. And fuck no.
That's a whole another fucking story. Holy shit.
Well, like when I went and did the first level one, the first question mark one, it was fine. It was.
Did you do it the first time, or did you take a few times?
I tried it once, and then came back like a week or two later, and I think they had nerfed it or whatever, and then it was kind of fine.
Oh,
I was higher geared. I was able to do it on my. I think I did it DPS, and so I tried it both blood and DPS on the double question mark, but it's just like because he's got something else now that you have to interrupt, which is the you can either interrupt the debuff one he does. Or now he does a regen, and it's like, and so now I got to interrupt that. I'm like, and then just like getting out of stuff, and it's just like, it was a pain. And it's just like, 10s recommend a eye level of 623, and I'm not 623, but being a blood DK and having like a good path in that specific delve let me unlock it. So I probably need some more gear before I go try it again, but you know, it was. Yeah. But like figuring out, it's like, okay, cool. I can like sit and pull. It's like I made some mistakes. Don't do that again, you know, on the next playthrough kind of thing. You know, it's like it, you know, and you work for it and stuff. And it's like I got some Warbound gear, you know, out of it, like some veteran stuff that I could send to like my disc priest or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's cool. You know, it's like I'm still getting purples out of it, even at the end, even though it's not, it wasn't bountiful, you know. So I wasn't getting gear out of it for me, but, you know, you get warband gear and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's good. You know, it's something. So.
Well, so I wonder, though, like, think of delves end to end, right? In terms of, like, leveling up with them, the different little features they have in them, like the map that you get for the extra chest at the end, all those things. You cannot tell me that won't influence the way a dungeon, whether it's mythic, heroic, normal, or probably not plus. I can't imagine they'll do that, but it's going to influence that. It has to influence that. Like I know I said it before. I think we've had one or two podcasts since the experience has been out, but I think that delves are like the future dungeon. Like. It has to be to a certain extent. Like,
I think
not with the mechanism, not all the mechanism. You know what I mean? Like, it's the interactivity of it, and the fact that delves are also like they're different sometimes. Like, they have different flavors when you go in, which is awesome.
Yeah,
this is the shit that EverQuest did with the Lost Dungeons of Norath in 2004. Like, you get a group together, you go to an instance for a particular quest. That dungeon could be different. It could be a rescue, it could be a kill, or whatever. Like, it could be several different things. And so, fucking A, it only took 20 years to copy that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we talked about this too, right? Like, way back before about generative dungeons, where, you know, delves aren't like that because there's a static map. All they change is potentially where you start,
which is good.
No, I get that. Yeah,
which is good.
I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying though, like we're talking about something that you go in or you queue for it, and it's different every time, different path, different mobs, different. It's almost kind of like.
It'll be like a Diablo at that point, though, right? Like,
something like that, where you have something you go in and stuff like that, and it has
or Torghast. Isn't that supposed to be Torghast to some extent?
Mm.
Well, Torghast kind of like didn't really hit the mark, like with what they promised.
Yeah, no.
It was,
Well, I think even if you were to take like a delve hits it pretty damn good, right? Like, you don't get the same scenario like that one in. I think the one that you were talking about earlier. I don't remember the name of it. It's like Dark Crest something maybe, but it's where you go to the very end on the ship and fight the boss. In the other flavor of it, you start at the end and go to the beginning.
Yeah,
which I thought
super
was cool.
Like, I was confused when I got in there. I'm like, where the fuck am I? Like this?
Yeah.
I'm like, have I done this delve? But that's good though. It's different and it's not the same.
Yeah,
thing
can you imagine if they did that in dungeons though? Like they put so much heart in the art and aesthetic of dungeons. Can you imagine if they just did the different flavors of them? Like that would add so much depth to how much effort they put into those things, and with and supporting the story as well, right? Instead of going in these 3 quests to deal with this thing and that's it and it's over, and then it becomes like a sport utility type of thing going forward. Like
I got you.
Rather, it turns into more of a lore.
No,
yeah, sorry.
I got you. I got the solution here.
Oh,
You don't change dungeons, right? You leave the dungeon design the way they are, but you also put in either right inside the dungeon or right outside the dungeon somebody to talk to toggle a different random mode. Because you know how you have to click on the delve to set the delve thing? You can maybe talk to somebody and say, set this to a different, story or something like that. You know what I mean? Something like that. So you have the regular dungeon. That's what you're going to be doing for Mythic pluses and all that stuff, right? The same thing over and over again, so you don't lose that. But then you have a way that you can basically delveify it, put in a different thing, go in there and do something different in there. Like I'm here to do a rescue mission. Okay, cool. And it flips it over to that kind of, like it gives you like
that. I actually don't mind that. That actually would be kind of cool. At first I'm like, maybe I wanted to be surprised, but no, kind of not really. I don't know.
I just think that you could do that and basically add a delve functionality. Maybe it's not the full dungeon. Maybe it's just part of the dungeon. Like, could you imagine if they took something like
yes,
like Undead Strat, right? Is that right? Yeah, and like put it in there. It's like, well, I'm going in here to do something else, not the major dungeon. Yeah. And so like the dungeon is like the main story, right? And so you don't want to lose that because people need to explain that. But now you have a way we can like you're returning to it. Like, and maybe the bosses are trying to set up the towers again, and you have to like go in and like stop the ritual from happening to like reopen the tower, or like they're trying to resurrect, Rivendare or something like that kind of thing. Something different in there, or like you can start at Rivendare's thing and like be like, they took his body, let's go find his body and stop them from trying to escape with it so they can bring him back. Something like that. You could add like little like scenario, make them like delves, so you could do them with one person or a few, and all that kind of stuff. And then, so now you can reuse old content. You don't have to redesign the maps or anything like that. You just have to put different mobs in there and all that stuff, and change the route. You can close different doorways off and stuff like that, and make it. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. I mean, they have such control over it at that point. It's so not like. You can tell how like not scripted the whole dungeon is anymore, but rather like configurable. So like for sure they could do this in a relatively straightforward way. I won't say easy because I don't know, obviously, but you know what I mean? Like it seems like if they could do it in a delve is very much just like a dungeon.
Yeah.
Very, very much.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know. That's interesting. I hope they fucking listen.
Right?
Because it would be pretty awesome.
Or it doesn't even have to be dungeons. You could go back to different raids. What if you wanted to go think about the shit they did for Death Knights when they had to go back to Ice Crown to get the frozen blades.
Oh, scenarios, like essentially.
Well, that was like the artifact weapon stuff. Like,
don't say scenarios.
Those are a dirty word.
I mean, but they're not though. Delves are just scenarios, just bigger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think scenarios were bad. They were like little mini dungeon things you could do and stuff like that. They were repetitive, and so they weren't very. Like delves
and not rewarding. Like there's no difficulty. They weren't rewarding like all those things. It was really like a story push mini dungeon. But yes, I agree.
But
I
delves
think
like the iteration. But you could do like delves into all the old raids, and obviously Bran would be in all of that shit because he's been in some of them. You know what I mean? It's like, could you imagine going back to Ulduar and like, because there was something where what was I fucking doing? I don't think it was the
Bron was in that one dungeon, wasn't he?
Yeah.
In the halls of something.
Halls of
Stone.
Halls of Stone, yeah. But there was I had to go back and talk to the guy, the Forge Master in Ulduar for some quests. And I don't remember if that was for the Legendary in the last expansion or if it was something else more recent. But you had to go there and help fight some fire elementals, and he would like forge. It was the Legendary because he had to like forge it at like super high heat and all that stuff, and he could do it. But like, you could go do delves like that in there and go in there and like somebody's having a problem, and you got to do it. Like, maybe by killing all the people in there, we cause like chaos to like anarchy to reign. We got to go kind of help clean up or something like that. Go back to ICC, figure out, it's like if we had gone back to ICC or the Forge of Souls earlier enough, Shadowlands wouldn't have happened. We would have dismantled it, and we wouldn't have had to worry about it, because that was a big thing, right? When they were bridging the gap or whatever, they used the Forge of Souls, which I thought was a pretty cool tieback to it. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential there that they can use. What else? I think 1105 is coming out soon. That's the anniversary stuff.
Oh yeah,
there's going to be a lot of
Tuesday.
There's going to be a lot of class changes. Apparently, they've changed it so that after you buy the first redo of the like the re-transmog of like the tier set, the subsequent ones are cheaper. So like they don't all cost the same, so like the price drops on them, which is good. I think you start getting more things, more of the currency after you get 100. I think you get like an achievement, and then you start getting more and all that kind of stuff. There's the BRD raid that's in there, and a bunch of stuff. So I know people are doing a bunch of math saying that it's like 10 weeks, I think is how long it's gonna last. And it's like, it would be like a tight thing to get like all of the sets, but we'll see. I mean, they're still probably tweaking it before it comes out. It's on the PTR now, I think. They're bringing back a bunch of pets and mounts that were like old anniversary ones. So like if you weren't around then, or if you missed it then, you have a chance to get them now. Like the Obsidian Worldbreaker is going to be there. I think the little flame elemental, there's like the little panda, or polar bear. That's the fucking word. Like, just like different things that were, haven't been available in like up to like 16 years ago, I think is when the polar bear cub was around.
Wow.
So, which I think is what they should do. I think that they should make I know they're doing it for the 20th, but why not just make that the thing? Just like the normal thing. It's just like put them in there and that way, if you don't have enough time this time, next time around, you can focus on something, I don't know. I feel like that would be a good thing to do, because then your players would, again, it's the FOMO shit, right? You don't want that fear of missing out on something. So
yeah.
Yep. So like our rating situation right now is we've had a few, and we've got up to the second to last boss, and that one's got a bunch of mechanics that are a pain in the ass, getting those coordinated. But I think we made some decent progress the last time we did it, so hopefully we'll see again tonight. Hopefully get people there and stuff, and get some solid attempts on it.
Yes, sir. I'm 603 now.
Nice.
Oh.
I am not. I don't think I'm even 600 yet. Still, I'm like on the cusp.
We went.
Maybe.
I already. Oh my gosh! I have. Let's see. I got shoulders on Tuesday from the tier 8 delve, the 616s, and then I had my next token tier swap. catalyst charge.
Yeah.
And boom, got my 616 tier shoulders. So I have 3-piece now.
I think I have 4-piece now,
Crazy.
Yeah, I got my 4-piece,
but they're not.
I have 1 hero piece, and I don't even think it's a tier set. It's the helm.
The thing that I kind of wish that they did was the keys for Bountiful. I wish you earned them like you did Catalyst charges. I don't have enough time to log in and do the dailies to get Bountiful keys, so I'm never going to get...
Yeah.
So I'm doing Bountiful delves without any real benefit, because I don't have the time to log in and get the keys.
I mean,
the dailies that give you the shards.
Yeah.
You definitely do those. And then also the Azeroth memories.
Yeah, but you have to get the relics for that. She hasn't probably done those.
I have not.
Well, if you have at least 5, and you run it, it's 5 minutes. You get over 100, which will get you 1 key.
Yeah. Well, you also I think when you're doing bountifuls, I think you still get the undercoins. So I think you can use those to buy keys from the guys.
Oh.
And by brand. Also, I think that you just don't want to do them sometimes, because I do know that you have been spending a lot of time playing dress up in Final Fantasy.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So I know that a lot of the times you don't have a lot of time.
Right.
But I know that when you do have time,
I choose not to do that.
You go down other rabbit holes.
Yes.
I
there
could
are
see
other
that,
things
though.
that I choose to do, and I don't.
I wouldn't want to spend my time in a tier 8 delve by myself.
Well, no,
it's not even the delve. It's just doing the dailies. I don't think that
it's
forcing somebody to do content that they wouldn't normally do in order to do content that they kind of want to do is a shitty way to, to do things.
Well, see, that's where it's the item level from a fucking vault for that thing is so high that it's
That's what I mean. But
that's not... But you can do that without the keys. You just don't get the 603 or whatever out of the thing. So, I mean, you still get the benefit from the vault.
Yeah,
from doing them.
It's just...
Oh, people were just going in and killing Zekfir. And getting filling
out.
Oh
yeah, I know. I heard it was super quick.
Oh really?
And then,
yeah,
filling out.
Did they change it?
Yep. They took it out. They're that's not the intent of it.
Yeah.
That's no.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
I saw it. I don't know if I saw it on Reddit or I saw it somewhere else, but somebody was like, "Yep, super quick way to fill out your vault. Takes them, 5 minutes or something like that."
I don't know about
maybe per Zekfir kill or whatever.
It's
but
still
they're
annoying enough that you could screw up and have to redo it. So
yeah.
I don't know if it's that great.
Yeah.
It
was quicker than the other ways, I guess.
It's faster than doing a regular tier 8 delve.
Yeah.
Because you just run in and engage the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we're ready to kind of get settled back down into our normal routine of things and stuff. And I'm pretty sure for you, the first month or 2 of school is always the worst.
It is.
Because you don't know where things are going to stand. And then once you get used and settled in and realize that, you're still doing, really well in your classes and all that stuff, especially when you think you failed tests and probably get the highest grade on the test.
Yeah. I got a 96 on my lecture and a 97 on my lab, so I was pretty happy with those.
She came back from her lab test going,
I failed it,
bombed it. Everybody hated it.
It was terrible.
It
was so bad.
It was bad, blah, blah. And then she comes back and goes 48.5 out of 50. I got a 97%. And I'm like, yeah, I know you did, because you did this every freaking math test you took too.
Yeah.
I failed it. Oh my God, it was so bad. And she comes back, I got a 95.
Well,
you put in too much work for it to be bad.
Well,
it would have to be an impossible test for all the work that you put in to just be like that.
I just have bad test anxiety. I
understand.
It's very bad. It's to the point where I will literally sit there after I take the test, come home, and then just hit F5 on my grades until the test gets posted. And it drives me my lab, she didn't grade them immediately. And when I went into the next class, the next day, I went to her office during her office hours, and I'm like, I think I did really bad on that lab. And it was like every nightmare test that, like every nightmare about tests you've ever had, aside from the like being naked, right? You're sitting naked taking a test. It wasn't that, but it was like short answer questions and, critical thinking questions and this and that. And it was like every
problem,
terrible thing that you could think for taking a test. That's exactly what that test was. And I was like, fuck, man,
Yeah.
So that was kind of.
She's been like that about
every test.
Tests.
I haven't had any short answer ones, so I think I'm not going to enjoy this semester. I'm lucky we don't have a midterm or a final. We just have 3 unit exams this semester, which a lab and a practical. A lecture and a practical. But other than that, like we don't have have a final. We don't have a cumulative final.
So that's good. That gives you a little bit more breathing room, and maybe we can start doing some things.
Yeah.
Get in there, because the thing, you can get a key fairly easy. You just, if the zone has like the special assignment in it, you do a couple world quests, which take like no time. Then you go do the special assignment, which takes like no time. And those first 2 are guaranteed to give you coffer keys.
Yeah.
So, you can do that in like 10, 15 minutes and you've got a key and you can just build them up and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
Unless it bugs out and then it tells you need 0 more world quests to unlock it, and you do them all and like there's none left and it keeps telling you that. So you have to log off and log in, and it goes, oh yeah, hey, go do this. Because I was trying to do that on my my shadow or my priest, which, let me tell you, just is a pain in the ass.
Really?
It's bad when people take damage, and so disc is hard in so much as you try to get people set up, but like when they start falling too fast, you don't have, it's like, okay,
anything to
really get them up, and so you have to like heal them.
Yeah.
But that takes you out of your damage rotation, which means other people are like not. It's just like, when it goes well, it goes well. If you can sit there and get your stuff out there and start doing your damage and doing your healing, it's great.
Yep.
But when you're trying to pull up out of that pit, it's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's a lot of like big things that you can do. And sometimes I'm just like, fuck it. I did LFR on a couple wings with it. That wasn't too bad.
I think a lot of it is knowing the fights.
Yes.
And knowing when, and WoW is not super great with this. Final Fantasy is more scripted than WoW. I feel like in that, like, there's more RNG in WoW stuff than there is in Final Fantasy stuff, right? So in Final Fantasy, it's much more easy to do that, and because okay, this right now, okay, an AoE is going to happen. Okay, and then the next thing that's going to happen is there's going to be a tank buster. And then the next thing that's going to happen is there's going to be something else, and there's going to be a bunch of AoE too. And you know that there's enough time between those things that you can let people's natural health regen tick up. I don't think WoW, do we even have natural health regen? Do we in combat? Because I don't think we do.
No, not in combat.
Yeah, because a Final Fantasy does. So it's like, you can, as a healer, you can completely, if you know something isn't going to kill somebody, and that, they're at like 80%, you could sit there and just keep blasting and know that nothing is going to affect them for the next, 30 seconds or so. You can let their natural health regen tick up and heal them, and you don't have to stop killing things. You can just ignore them.
I was doing time walking because there's a 597 piece out of there. And so it was it Anubarak, whatever that one is, where you go down, and I swear, I don't know, this tank was just, it was a pally tank, and he was bad. and he just kept dying and pulling too much and just dying. Like, I'm like, what are you doing?
Dude, the time walking stuff hits hard. Like the same thing happened for us going through Nexus. The Pally tank ran in and like got obliterated. Like, oh my god.
I almost feel like that stuff should be it should be thought of as people, not everybody has the experience with those dungeons. You know what I mean?
That's not the problem. I think the problem is they do the normal dungeons. These come up, and now they're thinking,
doing it the same way,
and they're doing it the same way as the other dungeons. That's what I mean. But it's not just that. It's that they're scaled, so their stats aren't the same. But they treat it like they're at like they're level 80, whatever, doing the stuff, and they can just go in. And it's like that's not how it works.
Yeah,
it's like it is scaled. They are still difficult if you don't do them right. And if it's one thing if you're high level geared, but like my priest, I think I got him up to like 565, or the game thinks it's 567, which is enough to queue for LFR, and probably heroics now. But like, I was like 540s to 550s doing this stuff, and it's just like now I'm scaled down. So all my stats are scaled down, all like the whatever. So it's just like, it's harder to heal especially as disc. And it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah. It's that is the problem that I have with healing dungeons, is that when it goes good, it goes really good. And there are some pulls that we do, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just sitting there blasting, and I'm like, it feels so good. And then all it takes is one person missing an interrupt, or standing in something, and then I have to break out of that and I have to heal, and then it feels like there's just a cascade effect, and it's like, fuck. Because then now I have to heal, and which I like healing. I enjoy healing, but I don't know. I feel like WoW really pushes I like healing in Final Fantasy more, Final Fantasy better, because it's more steady.
Mm-hmm.
And WoW really pushes people are getting down to like it.
They want their holy trinity.
It's more spiky. It's more spiky. Healing is more spiky. It's like, rather than making healers just, okay, you're there and you can do other things other than heal. You can DPS or whatever. I'm still annoyed in WoW, the fact that they have a dispel cooldown, and then they put freaking things that you need to dispel, like party-wise, and not everybody has a mass dispel. And it's so
even if you have a mass dispel, it's a
annoying.
2-minute cooldown. So and you
need
it more often.
It's so stupidly annoying that it's like, just get rid of the cooldown on freaking dispels. Boom. Done. It's just, ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. No, I get it. It is a different dynamic for sure. And I don't think it's going to change. It's like Final Fantasy has their fights their way. WoW dungeons have like not changed and probably won't change. Yeah.
Well, they tried to do it where it was more like, I don't mind rot damage, but rot damage on top of spiky damage is very bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because you have no way of...
And the problem with that is that certain classes and certain setups are going to be more better for certain things, which sucks.
Yeah.
And it's just like, bring the player, not the class, but also make sure you have the right class to deal with the stuff.
Right.
And it's like, it is a hard thing to balance, because you want classes to... It's either don't put that in your dungeons and leave that for big group content like raids where you have multiple healers and you have a higher likelihood of having different healers, different classes.
Yeah.
Versus small group content where your rank, your dynamic or your setup isn't going to be quite as diverse, or it will be more diverse and less likely to have that class in it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I tried saying it in a way that made sense, and I don't know if it worked.
No, it made sense. It's just, I don't know. It's just frustrating. It's frustrating when you feel like you're doing everything that you could possibly do, and people are still dying. You know? Like,
yeah.
You know.
But that's on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You got anything else? I don't know if anything else really has been. Anniversary's coming up. Get ready for that.
Oh, fuck. When does that happen?
A week from Tuesday. So like 9 days.
I get another test coming up. At the
Okay.
end of the month. The
Yeah.
day before.
The
our
nice
anniversary.
the nice thing is that from what I understand in the anniversary is you can do normal content and still get tokens. So you don't have to go do specific anniversary content as well as regular content to keep all your stuff up. Like you can do mythic keys and all that stuff and still get tokens and stuff for the anniversary or delves or something like that. So, or world quest or whatever. So you can so they overlap, which is good because now you don't have to spend more time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is good. Definitely.
All right. Cool. Well, it's good to be back. It's good to finally get to talk about some of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's been all pent up inside.
Oh, no. Terrible.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can check us out at serverrestartin.com. And we'll hopefully get you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.